A tired U.S. Army veteran is seeking a seat on a crowded British train. Unable to find one, he approaches a British lady and asks,
"Madam, may I use your seat?"
The British lady responds,
"Can't you see my puppy is sitting here? How rude Americans are."
The Army veteran walks off, attempting to find another seat. After a couple of minutes, he returns to the lady and says,
"Please, ma'am, may I have your seat? I'm very tired."
The woman accuses him of being inconsiderate. Undeterred, the man calmly walks up, throws the dog out of the train window, and takes the seat. The woman starts screaming, demanding that the man be punished. Her husband intervenes, saying,
"You Americans are doing everything wrong. You drive on the wrong side of the road, use the wrong utensils to eat, and now you've thrown the wrong dog out of the train."
Tom came home from work tired and depressed. His wife met him in beautiful lingerie, and they retired to their bedroom and had a great night, and then all day until evening came. During a family dinner, Tom looked at his wife and remarked,
"You know, the way we harmonize is like we're a working machine."
His wife smiled back and playfully asked,
"Is that really so? If you didn't gas me up periodically, we wouldn't go anywhere."
A man appeared in court and told the judge,
"I want a divorce! Every evening, my wife goes from one bar to another."
The judge, puzzled, asked.
"Why does she do that?"
The man sighed and replied,
"She's looking for me."
While sitting in the dentist's chair, Monica, halfway numb due to anesthesia, endures the dental procedure with the room filled with the sound of dental tools. Amidst the intensity, Monica's mobile phone begins buzzing persistently. Hoping the caller will give up, she tries to ignore it, but the ringing continues. Irritated, the dentist, still working on Monica, decides to answer the call. Annoyed, he says,
"Hello, what do you want?"
A confused voice on the other end responds.
"What's up?"
The dentist, taken aback, asks,
"Who is this?"
The man replies,
"I'm Monica's husband. Is she all right?"
Trying to finish his work, the dentist responds,
"Listen, man, I'm about to finish. She will spit it out and we'll call you back."
Hyman's Helpline. I'm seeking advice on a significant issue. Lately, I've been suspicious that my wife may be involved with someone else. I've observed classic signs like phone calls abruptly ending, frequent late-night outings, and mysterious messages on her phone. Trying to uncover the truth, I've stayed up late, but I always end up falling asleep. However, last night, I devised a plan and hid behind our old boat in the shed around midnight, hoping to catch something. True enough, she arrived home in a car I didn't recognize. As she adjusted her blouse, she took out her underwear and quickly put them on. While concealed behind the boat, I noticed something concerning: a tiny hairline crack on the outboard engine mounting bracket of the boat. My real question is, can I weld this, or do I need to replace the entire bracket?
A large number of viewers watch my videos without a subscription. Therefore, subscribe to my channel so as not to miss new videos with funny jokes. A lumber mill posts a job ad for a lumber assistant, and there's only one response. When the prospective worker arrives for an interview, the mill staff is surprised to see an elderly man who is clearly blind. The manager is skeptical about how a blind person could assess wood, but the old man is confident he can. Intrigued, the manager decides to test him. Workers bring in a piece of wood, and the blind man leans down to carefully smell it.
"This is top-notch wood,"
He confidently declares.
"It's a Taco 6 piece of pine, perfectly cut to a 93-inch length. No significant bends or twists. This piece is just right. Let's use it."
The manager is a bit surprised but intrigued. They bring in another piece, and the blind man smells it again.
"Ah, I know this one.
He says,
It's an old piece of birch that's been split. This isn't good for making anything. We should throw this away."
Now thoroughly impressed, the manager, feeling a bit playful, decides to see if he can trick the old man. He asks his assistant to come over, and she stands in front of the blind man, pulling up her dress a bit. The blind man gets closer and takes a deep sniff, looking confused. He asks,
"Can you turn this around?"
The assistant turns, allowing him to get another good smell, and he says,
"You all are trying to be funny with me. This isn't any kind of wood. It's a stay from a tuna boat.
During a bike tour, the guys were having a drink, and no one wanted to share a room with Mick because of his loud snoring. They decided it wouldn't be fair to burden one person with it the whole time, so they agreed to take turns. The first guy who slept with Mick came to breakfast the next morning looking disheveled, with messy hair and bloodshot eyes. When asked what happened, he explained that Mick snored so loudly that he sat up and watched him all night. The following night, it was a different guy's turn, and he also appeared with tousled hair and bloodshot eyes at breakfast. When questioned about his appearance, he replied that Mick's snoring shook the roof, and he spent the night just watching him snore. On the third night, it was Bill's turn. Bill was a seasoned tanned biker, a rugged man's man. To everyone's surprise, he came to breakfast the next morning looking lively and energetic. When asked about it, he cheerfully shared, "Well, we got ready for bed. I went and tucked Mick in, patted him on the ass, and kissed him goodnight. Mick sat up and watched me all night." Farmer Brown decided it was time to refresh his chicken coop, so he purchased a young rooster. Upon introducing the new rooster to his hens, the young rooster immediately confronted the old rooster, who had been in charge for years. The young rooster insisted that it was time for the old one to retire. The old rooster, however, warned about the challenges of handling all the chickens alone, sharing his own experiences. The young rooster, uninterested in listening, demanded the old rooster to leave. In a last attempt, the old rooster made a small request, asking if he could have 2 old hens in the corner without causing any trouble. Despite the plea, the young rooster was unsympathetic and dismissive, declaring that the old rooster was washed up and it was his time to take over. The old rooster, thinking cleverly, proposed a race around the farmhouse to determine who would have full control of the chicken coop. The young rooster agreed, boasting about beating the old man and even offering him a head start. As the race began, the old rooster took the lead, with the young rooster following a few seconds later. Farmer Brown, noticing the roosters racing, quickly grabbed a shotgun. Just as the young rooster was about to catch up, Farmer Brown took aim and fired. Boom! The young rooster was blown to pieces. Shaking his head, Farmer Brown muttered, "Damn, that's the 3rd cocky rooster I've bought this week." At a military base, the colonel gathered his team early in the morning for a briefing. While everyone was waiting for the coffee to brew, the colonel, looking a little tired, decided to share a light-hearted question. He explained, "You know, my wife was in quite a playful mood last night, so I didn't get as much sleep as usual." He then asked, "In your opinion, how much of intimacy is work and how much is pleasure?" The major, a seasoned officer, thought for a second and said, "Sir, I'd say it's 25% work and 75% pleasure." The captain, with more experience than a junior, but less than a major, pondered and answered, "For me, it feels like 50% work and 50% pleasure." The young lieutenant, fresh and optimistic, grinned and said, "Well, I think it's 25% work and 75% pleasure, but that might change depending on how many drinks I've had." The colonel, amused by the range of answers, noticed the private first class, PFC, the lowest rank in the room, preparing the coffee. Curious, he asked, "What about you? What's your take?" The PFC, without missing a beat, confidently replied, "Sir, I believe it's got to be 100% pleasure. If there was any work involved, the officers would have me doing it for them." The room went quiet, and the colonel, raising an eyebrow, asked, "Oh, and why is that?" The PFC responded, "Well, sir, if there was any work involved, the officers would have me doing it for them." In a rural church in Ireland, a nun is immersed in prayer when a sudden noise and a cloud of green smoke frighten her. When the smoke clears, 2 leprechauns appear in front of her, matching the descriptions from the stories, dressed in green clothes, decorated with fancy hats, sporting red sideburns, and about 2 feet tall. One leprechaun seems shy, while the other looks confident. The brave leprechaun greets the nun, expressing curiosity. "Hello, sister, we have a question. Are there leprechauns here who are nuns?" The nun, taken by surprise, replies, "No, I have been here for 6 years, and there are no leprechaun nuns in this church." The brave leprechaun, not at all embarrassed, continues to pry. Only 6 years, right? This is a short time. Is there anyone who has been working here longer? The young nun agrees, offering, yes, the Mother Superior has been working here for almost 70 years. She can answer your questions. She's accompanied by a nun. The leprechauns head to the Mother Superior's office. The shy leprechaun is silent, while the brave one expresses gratitude. Nice to meet you, Mother Superior. We have a few questions. Surprised, the Mother Superior encounters a rare sight. 2 leprechauns. A brave leprechaun asks, during the time that you have been here, have there ever been leprechaun nuns here? The Mother Superior firmly denies, no, I would definitely remember that. Persisting, the leprechaun asks about the history of the church, wondering if there were leprechaun nuns in the past. The Mother Superior, relying on her knowledge, answers, I've read all our books twice. There were definitely no leprechaun nuns there. Undeterred, the leprechaun explores other possibilities by asking about leprechaun nuns in other churches in Ireland, or perhaps elsewhere in the world. The Mother Superior, after thoughtful reflection, rejects this idea. If she is not in Ireland, I don't think she will be found anywhere else. Turning to his friend with a grin, the leprechaun declares, see, I told you, you fucked a penguin. A teenage boy goes to church to confess his sins. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have been with a loose girl. The priest asks, is that you, little Tommy? Yes, Father, it is, the boy replied. And who was the girl you were with? I can't tell you, Father. I don't want to ruin her reputation. Well, Tommy, I'm sure to find out her name sooner or later, so you may as well tell me now. Was it Patricia Williams? Sorry, Father, I cannot say. Was it Lisa Davis? I'll never tell, replied the boy. Was it Kathy Odell? My lips are sealed, Father. Was it Brenda Jones, then? Please, Father, I cannot tell you. The priest sighs in frustration. You're very tight-lipped, and I admire that. But you've sinned, and you have to make amends. You can no longer be an altar boy until 4 months have passed. Now go and behave yourself. Yes, Father, the boy replied. Tommy walks back to his pew and sits down. His friend Johnny slides over and whispers, What'd you get? Tommy grins. 4 months vacation and 4 good leads.